Good morning, viewers across the world, irrespective of where you are from. So, good morning, good day to each one of you. And I think all of us understand we are in the new normal. So, every one of you is joining from a different destination. And irrespective of where you are tuning here to basically hear things about what is happening in vibrant Bharat and what is happening in the financial services and the fintech space. As everybody knows, that essentially we've gone through a significant turmoil with the pandemic. But however, when you look at the pandemic, there's also a significant silver lining to it. The pandemic has accelerated a whole range of digital technologies, a whole range of virtual operating models, and all of which essentially are transforming us and are making everyone. It's India Inc., it's the MSME, it's the small trader, everybody is actually thinking out of the box on how they basically provide the services. Similarly, consumers are also adapting. Consumers are adapting on how essentially they will essentially consume the service, how the services will be delivered to them, and how will they basically make payments and the entire transition into that particular the new normal itself. In this particular area, I think what has been key has been innovation in financial services and innovation in the fintech space. Whether it's been the banking system, whether it's been NBFC, whether it's been insurance, whether it's been how the markets have rallied behind this particular change, rapid change, I think essentially is what we will be focusing on today. Innovation in this particular space essentially has come up with significantly new business models. It also essentially accelerated the financial inclusion. I know that when you really look at financial inclusion, there's a lot more to be done. But I think that essentially is where some of our leaders who essentially come into our next stage of the conversation will be speaking a lot more about it. Whether it's a bank today, which essentially provides a brick and mortar service or a digital service, or whether it's an NBFC today, all of them are continuing to think out of the box in terms of the newer solution. But with newer solutions, what really happens is essentially there are the good guys, there are the bad guys. So one needs to also take care of what we call as cybersecurity, financial crime, fraud, all of which essentially need to be taken care of. When there are new products, new services, everything being provided digitally, one needs to take care of that. Second element is we need to be able to provide what we call as consumer protection. Consumer protection in terms of quality of service, in terms of making sure there's equitable benefit for everybody, and there's no essentially that everybody across all segments, urban and rural, across all of vibrant India, essentially is getting an ability to uh, get to leverage that particular service. As we think about this and as we continue to go, I think the government essentially has been significantly focused, the government and the regulator, and in terms of pushing this particular journey, both from an aspect of Startup India, Make in India, and also providing a lot of incentive to right from the smallest of traders to the largest of institutions, where essentially they have provided them that particular impetus. They provided them the right level of environment from a regulatory perspective, from a policy perspective, from an economic benefit, all of which essentially have been very, very critical. Financial services, as we know, is the bedrock of any economy. And without innovation, financial services would basically crumble. And which is where what I would like to really bring to you on this particular journey is as you look at financial services, as you look at innovation, as you look at the regulatory push, and also as you look at all of the policy changes, how does one grapple with all of these? How does one bring it all together? How does one essentially sort of think about, hey, I'm on one side a new provider. How can I essentially provide new services here? Second is essentially consumers. Consumers, you have age group from the very young, the millennial, all the way to the very old. how do you essentially provide what you call the right kind of user interfaces so essentially they can actually access this particular data? And how do you also integrate the various channels, whether it's your brick and mortar, whether it's your digital? How do you really integrate all of these? All of these are the current challenges that are grappling this particular industry, but essentially industry leaders are accelerating and doing a fine job in terms of bringing those particular services. Of course, there's a lot more to be done to ensure that we essentially cover the entire population of India. And also, it's going to be important how do we take these particular fintechs to a level of maturity where they can then compete in the global markets, and which is what is the most important part. With that, thank you for being here. Welcome to the summit, and look forward to having all of you here throughout the day, and look forward to your comments and thoughts as we continue through the panel discussion.